Welcome to our Lenten book study where we're going through intentional parenting. We already started this kind of conversation a few weeks back, but then once all this kind of stay at home orders and social distancing, I feel like that it's best to kind of have these quick videos to where we kind of go chapter by chapter with everything that's going on and some of the things where I talk about what I really enjoyed in the book, and I'll try to recap all of those, but also things to do as a family during this time because, this is the first time in a very long time where sports are canceled, driving to and from is canceled, and you have a lot more time to intentionally work as a family together. And I think that it's a blessing to have this time together, even though patience will be tested and overwhelmingness of what's happening and everything else like that. So we're not trying to overwhelm, we're not trying to do anything like that, but just to make quick videos to continue our conversation and for you to add to the conversation of what we're doing. And so the first week that we met, we kind of went over the introduction and to give thanks of the idea of intentionality because how much importance is going whenever we are intentional with being in our actions. And so if we look at parenting as being an intentional kind of purpose and drive, then how much that gives to us. And so one of the big things we did was we looked at this idea of where is sanctuary at home. And my professor here at Louisville Presbyterian Theological Seminary, Bradley Wigger, wrote this book and kind of has this mindset of we view church kind of as this place that happens 1 hour on a Sunday and things like that. So how can we take those elements and where are those elements in our daily lives and within our home? And so one of the things that we talked about was, and for you to kind of think about is whenever we begin worship at Ascension Lutheran, we start with the confession and forgiveness. And so where does that happen in your home? Where does confession happen and where does forgiveness? And when was the last time that this was done as a family, and where was the response and where did grace kind of prevail? And so we have that, and then we have the gathering. And so when are the moments that you intentionally gather together as a family? And maybe that's before COVID-19 and then now during COVID-19, and then also where can you gather with these new normals outside, and how can we create healthy habits as a family going forward past this with this intentional time together? And then when are the moments you intentionally gather just with your child? And so maybe just one-on-one, or if you have multiple children, when are those times, and what do those times look like? And how can those times be fruitful and also life-giving into there? And then the word is proclaimed. So when is scripture read as a family? When is devotion as a family? When are devotions happening between maybe you and your significant other? Or if that isn't true, when do you gather as a family and kind of go with the scripture, and when is scripture being read? And then also, when is scripture for you or individual time? And then also, are your children aware of that? One of the things I shared in the class was, I didn't realize for years, whenever I was in high school, my parents got up before all of us and they, had a devotion together. They read scripture together, and that kind of changed the way that I looked at them, even though I didn't really realize kind of what was happening, but how they were able to take that intentional time together. And so when is the word proclaimed and read? And then also, when do you share meals together? Now you're probably sharing more meals in the past 2 weeks than you have probably in, all of 2020 combined. And so up until this point. And so, how can you create those kind of behaviors, and what happens during the meal? Is everyone kind of surrounded by the table, or is there noise? Is there TV on? Are the phones at the table? How do you as a family kind of work on what is good for you, and then how is it intentional kind of do? And then the last thing is sending. And so how does your family serve the Lord? Is that done as a family? Is it done individually? Is it done, how is it done? And so there are different and creative ways that I'd be more than happy to share with you. But, those are kind of the things that we talked about in the introduction of where is sanctuary at home for you. So please continue to join and follow the videos, and let me know what else y'all may need. Thanks.